Today we go on personal. I want to show you what it was my first love in when I started more than 20 years ago. And we want to introduce you the brand Manger Audio. And Daniela, she is the owner and the manufacturer of the Manger company. And it's a very special person, and it's a very special product, it's a very special everything. It's and still 20 years later, I'm still here, and I still consider his speakers and his products as probably the best in absolute. So here we are introducing Daniela. Daniela is with us, and she came to visit us in our new places. And so please do also the same, come visit us. You will be amazed with all the products you will find in our place. Thank you for coming, and I would like you to introduce to everybody your company, your products, and to be able to transmit also why you are so unique and you conquered me 20 years ago.
Yeah, first I also thank you for the invitation to your place, and I'm happy to be here. I'm also look back to our long-term cooperation, which are more than 20 years now. I think our first meeting around 20 or 24 years ago, or something like this, when you get in touch to introduce Manger Audio and Manger sound transducer into the French market. Actually, probably I tell you a little bit of the visitors and audiophiles out there a little bit more about the Manger technology. The Manger driver, it's a unique sound transducer which was invented by my father. He started in the late 60s because he honestly recognized there's on a classical loudspeaker something which has a kind of a footprint. It's kind of a additive which is not part of a natural instrument, and he got into the construction of a conventional driver and realized that a classical driver makes a little bit more because of its mass spring action, and he starts studying the construction and go deeper into the measurements and I think he was one of the first starting measuring the time response of loudspeakers, and there he realized that the mass spring action makes a kind of a delay and something additional which is not in the transient of a natural instrument or voices or so. Yes. And then he starts with a development, tried to find a different way of the sound reproduction, which is not that easy because you change from the electrical signal into the movement of air, where you have air is not so easy to bring into movement, and this is the difficult. And on the other hand, the hearing sense is very, very precise, and so you can't really
trick it.
Exactly.
Yeah, actually, it's curious because yes, the piston is a mass spring. It's physical. There is a limit of the physics.
Yes.
And actually, even when you design or you want to ask a manufacturer to design a speaker, you have to deal with these physical limitations. Actually, if you want to have the bass, you need to have a weight, and so you cannot go high.
Exactly.
And so it's lower, and so you lose something. For if you want to high is in frequencies, then it's very as light as possible. And anyway, the limit is still the weight, because you cannot make zero mass. And so yes, in this transduction studies, between electricity and sound. There's been many companies that were working on ideas, more or less successful ideas, and it is very interesting the way you transform the mechanics into sound. Basically, the idea is how to do it without using the mass and the spring. Mm-hmm. I'm correct?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So actually, I will take one of the drivers to make it a little bit probably more describable. So actually, we have not a piston-like cone, but we have a flat diaphragm, which in total also has a mass, but it never works as a total mass. The trick in the diaphragm is that it's flexible in itself and it bends. This means you can have the idea of the diaphragm movement like if you pull a stone into the water. And the principle it uses bending waves, and the bending wave is a mechanical wave which is depending on the frequency, or better, its velocity, sound velocity. It's depending on the frequencies, which means that for the high frequency, the area it's just active in the center, and the lower the frequencies are, the larger is the area which works. And this is achieved by a sandwich diaphragm, which has different thicknesses, and the special material, special plastics, which is used in between the two foils. And this is actually like a continuous mass spring behavior, but it has no delaying, storaging characteristics. This is what I wanted to say. So actually the sound is really radiated without any delay, like a conventional driver always has, by its mass spring behavior. Even the special voice coil, which is a double voice coil, which was developed also by my father. It was actually the first patent he signed in '69, has a very, very low inductance, which is also kind of a delay, because a voice coil or a coil is always working against the input, which is also important, that you have a kind of a delay in a way on the impulse behavior.
We are going really into the techniques, because I understand the same as the capacitor that give a delay of 90 degrees, the coils that give an anticipation of 90 degrees.
Absolutely,
so actually, yes, keeping capacitor and coils closest to zero means shorten the delay as maximum. But also, what is I try to make it with simpler words. What Daniela is saying, and it's not correct. So I'm not. The technical is it's very interesting, because it's absolutely more correct and precise what she's saying. But to let understand, it's basically, yes, the membrane, which is we can see here, is flexible, and it's not a piston that is working, but it's basically waves that are formed on the surface, and it starts from the center. And if the high frequency, they stay basically in the center. If more the frequency goes more, they go in the external. And this star-shaped rubber is basically a damper, so avoid the waves to come back.
Yeah.
And the way it has been done with a double coil, and as you mentioned, it's really to be able to give the maximum energy to the membrane, so that it can create waves that are the waves of the sound, and they transmit like if you think at a lash, and it creates a wave on the lash itself, and this is transmitted up to the end with any basically energy. And if you think at the lash, we just make a small movement, and the end you have the bang and it's basically the bank of the sound of that is braking. So that's to make you understand how it can be quick, this transmission on a membrane, and it's a lot quicker than a piston movement can do. So I think this is where all the conception and the studies of this driver has been bring on. Of course, technically we can go, and there is a lot to say. But anyway, it's. I hope the description was okay.
It was absolutely okay. I want also to add something additional, which comes with this principle that we can cover a wide frequency range with one diaphragm. And this is also different to the conventional mass spring piston driver, where we have the limitations by the mass spring behavior. In all our models, we use the Menger driver from 360 Hertz, and it goes up to 45K. And this is what Armando explained with the lash, is that this very fast transient reaction is just because just the minimum part of the diaphragm starts in the area of the voice coil and makes a really fast rise time, and makes this so precise, and the acceleration it's very fast, and follows the musical fine details very precisely.
I remember once, the first time I came to visit Daniela in his home. I still met, at the time I met his father. And he was telling me something that for me was crazy, and gave me the way to understand a little bit what the sound means. I'm not saying music. Music, often we confund music with frequencies, with sounds can be also noise. And the noise is basically a tick that we can hear, is just nothing. And if we measure this eventually noise that, something that breaks, it's and we record it, and we measure, we try to repeat it in a second, we can repeat it at 270 times time. So it means that frequency, if you want to transform in frequency, is at 270 kilohertz, and our ear can hear it, but there is no transducer that can really repeat the 270K. So it's a noise. We can recognize the noise, but we cannot.
Transients.
The transients. But the frequency, we are stopped at, let's say, 20 kilohertz for who has the ear, maybe the out for me. And but the noise, yes, we can hear it very well. And if you repeat this noise more than 7 times, then it becomes a frequency for our brain and disappears, so we cannot hear it anymore. And with Menger, this transient reproduction capacity is so big that actually it makes at the listening this difference, and I think it was the reason why it was really conquered at that time, and still it is possibly the only driver in the world that is able to reproduce transient the way it does. In fact, the limit sometimes with the speaker is going to the electronics, because the speaker can go.
Yeah, it shows the footprint of the electronics or the front end, what you add to the driver. So you can also perceive the characteristics of the electronics. And in the final chain, this is something regarding the sound performance of the Menger driver. It's has no own footprint, so every what you put in, so the complete content, depending the recording quality, makes you excited or disappointed, because you also realize that it's a bad recording. But in general, I would say the characteristic of the Menger driver is that it doesn't sound like a loudspeaker. Most of our customers describe it as it's a different kind of listening, because it's so natural, so neutral, and because most of we know, if you say how it sounds, I would say it's like food without additives. You have to get used to, because in the first impression, when you're first listening to them, it's probably a little bit kind of, what's this? It's different, so you can't get the real to a typical hi-fi speaker, I would say. Because yes, hi-fi or high fidelity, it's in channel in the hi-fi market, audiophile market, something what many manufacturers are looking for. And with this special way, my father started to go with the invention of the Menger sound transducer. I would really say we go a different way, which makes it also for music lovers who really are into music, and concert goers really have the addiction to the Menger driver, because they really recognize directly that it sounds neutral. The Menger driver itself, it's the heart on all our products, and it's not different. There are now not different models of Menger drivers, also no different sizes, because as I explained before, the size it's fixed because of the frequency range it needs to cover, and as we have to move air, and I described it before, that it's not that easy, we need quite a dedicated area to bring air into action, and to achieve also sound pressure level for listening pleasure, and also if you want to make a little bit party, you can also nowadays turn it up, and it reach quite a good sound pressure level.
Yeah. What is curious is that actually what she said is particular, because we are not in the habit of this absence of distortion, let's say like this, the sound so natural. Actually, it happened to me also at the beginning, and I was listening, was somehow disappointed for the first, and like at the time I had Heil AMT transducer that are also possibly one of the best high frequency transducer in the world, together with a medium, it was a 5 inches I believe, and a 30 centimeter driver, and so I was in a good, I think the quality, it was quite good already in my listening room. And when I got the Menger, it was strange, because in coherence was just amazing. You could move around and you still had your image perfect centered. The listening was how to say, very different and more natural, but it was something that it was disturbing in somehow, and so I had to listen a couple hours, and then when I came back to my system, and I was convinced that it's better my old system, there was something that I could not come back anymore. And this is how it started with, basically, so I said, now I want to go and visit Daniela and his father, because I cannot understand how it does work. But it was a little habit. And for the sales point of view, as a representative of Menger, and I mean, the objective is really also to sell, I live of it. It's difficult. It's difficult because you need to give you the time to get in the habit, and then once you do it, then it's difficult to come back. The sound that is precisely the way it is, there is no movement, no difference between timbre, the difference between one speaker and the another. Often we can recognize that, say, the bass are slightly spongy, or the high frequency are slightly aggressive, and it makes you to find out that you are listening to a tweeter or to a woofer. This is not happening here. You have just everything is together, is a voice very natural, the way it is normally, and yes, when you listen to it afterwards, you say, no, I cannot come back to the to the slight aggressivity in some points of the voice, or the spongy bass when it's not yeah, when we get better, then we start to come back to worse. So and Munger is really this kind of sound, so precise, so I would say natural, transparent. On the other hand, the positioning of the system needs some attention. They are not very difficult, they work fine very immediately, but then if you want to extract the maximum, then there is some work to be done to have it correctly installed on in the place.